Do you want to stay more focused on the right goals in your life, or even just figure out what the right goals are for you? Do you want clarity? Do you want better work-life balance? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Success Through Failure.
Welcome to the Success Through Failure podcast, the show that reveals failure as your path to success. You'll listen to intriguing interviews with some of the most successful people on the planet and learn how their failures became a launchpad for success and how yours can too. Here's your host, former Division I All-American wrestler, former Division I head coach, speaker, and personal coach, Jim Harshaw.
Welcome to another episode of Success Through Failure. This is your host, Jim Harshaw, and today we're going to dive into an episode around the holidays. In particular, surviving the holidays. Like, I love this time of year. I love when our local radio station, 95.1, switches over from whatever, I don't even know what they have on the rest of the year. It's like soft rock kind of background music that you hear in the doctor's office to all Christmas music. I love it when they do it, and they did it a week early this year, which is kind of cool because Thanksgiving is a little bit late. But this time of year, it means different things to different people. For me, it's like I love it. You know, maybe it's the Christmas Eve brunch that we always host at our house with just some friends. We have some friends over and we eat and we drink and we have a good time. Or maybe it's like opening presents on Christmas morning, or maybe it's, you know, the candlelight service that we have at our church on Christmas Eve, which I just love being there for that. It's just such a cool experience, and really, it brings this whole chaos of the holiday season into focus on what it's really about, at least if you're a Christian like myself, and really brings the focus back to Jesus, which is a really clarifying experience because there's so much more to this time of year. And I want to give you a little bit of a guide on how to survive this. And I've been talking a lot about this with my clients and with my mastermind groups and in our group coaching calls. And I think you're going to get a lot of value. I know you're going to get a lot of value out of this. Because like for me, I love this time of year, and I never understood why other people didn't, or why some people were stressed out this time of year. But now we do. Now we get it, because it gets so dang busy, right? We got 4 kids and all the shopping that goes along with that. And you got to buy gifts for their teachers and everybody else. And then you've got holiday parties and the madness of the crowds and the chaos of that. It's just, there's so much, right? But it's, for some, it's also a reminder of bigger challenges, right? Some people were homeless. This was brought to stark reality for me recently because my sons and I volunteered to serve food at the homeless shelter. Some people, it's a reminder that there's just a lack of food this time of year. They can't have these feasts and these great meals, right? Other people can't provide for Christmas, right? It's all over the media. Christmas, and gifts and presents and stuff. And, you know, there's the one car commercial, I think it's Chevy or something like that. It's like a husband buys two new trucks, like a new truck and a new SUV as a surprise present for his wife. It's like, what planet are they on, right? And some people can't even buy their kids some toys for Christmas, right? For our family in particular, I talked about this back in episode number 178. But my sister lost her husband, 3 young kids, and it was just this horrible, horrible time last year, right? And that was early December. So this is, it's changed the tone of what the holidays are going to be for us and our family, and obviously her and her kids. And that's their reality, and that's the reality for a lot of people. Our neighbor just experienced something similar. And you know, for other people, it's this, you know, lack of having a spouse or kids or a relationship, right? And that's the reality for a lot of people. So the holidays aren't necessarily this amazing time of year for everybody. And even for those of us like me, who I just love it, there are parts of me that are just heartbroken this time of year. And so I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about how easy it is to go off course over the holidays, right? Eating, drinking, stress, time, etc. And whether you intentionally step off course, off your path, or you drift off. 2 hugely different things. I actually addressed this in episode 204 about drifting off of course versus intentionally choosing to step off course for a defined period of time. Right? So consider this episode your holiday survival guide. And if you think there's others out there who need to hear it, definitely share this with them. You can also get access to the action plan from this. I'm going to have all of these steps. There are a total of 11 of them that I'm going to share with you. You can get all 11 if you go to jimharshawjr.com/action. You can just download the Cliff Notes version of this, the Spark Notes version of this by doing that. So it's just a PDF that has everything that I'm going to talk about right now, sort of in that bite-sized form. So jimharshawjr.com/action. All right, let's dive in. Number 1, productive pause. Do a productive pause with your family or with your spouse. I talk about the productive pause specifically in episode number 112. If you want to learn more specifically, what exactly is the productive pause? But the short version is this. It's a short period of focused reflection around specific questions that gives you clarity of action and peace of mind. Okay, what am I talking about? A productive pause around the holidays. You sitting down with your spouse and having the conversation around, okay, where are we traveling to? Who is visiting us and when? What presents do we have to buy and for whom? What parties are on the calendar? Do we have work holiday parties? Do we have neighbors? Do we have friends? Even things like, what's your workout schedule, right? Like my wife likes to go to yoga, and there are certain classes at her yoga studio that she likes to go to on certain days. And so we sat down the other day and had a conversation about some of this. We need to do it again because we got interrupted by the kids. We actually never finished it. But having these kind of conversations, this is a really important productive pause to do with your family. So that's number 1. Number 2 is this. Do a regular productive pause with yourself, right? Productive pause. Hit the pause button, stop, and actually think about this or write it down. Ask yourself the questions like, who do I have to shop for? When am I going to work out? How am I going to avoid family drama, family conflict, right? I've got a client who identified a mantra that he uses whenever he's going into a conversation with somebody in his life, and it is this. He has this mantra. He says, I choose not to contend. I choose not to contend. Imagine if you going into a family situation where you're like, man, there's going to be fireworks here tonight. Like, I choose not to contend. Maybe you know somebody's going to press your buttons, or they've got a different political viewpoint as you do, or I don't know, maybe they're a Virginia Tech fan, right? They should be a Virginia fan. Let's just face it. I'm a Wahoo, by the way, if you didn't notice. But if you have that kind of conflict, like I choose not to contend. Here's another great question for your own personal productive pause. What's important now? And I know I got some Virginia Tech listeners out there. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a Wahoo, so. But what's important now? Right? What is important now? Right? So productive pause with yourself. That's number 2. And you should do this on a regular basis, not like a one-time thing. Maybe every Sunday night or something like that, or some cadence where you should do this regular. I would say as the holidays go on, probably you should do this a little bit more often, but certainly do this before you go into the chaos of the holidays. Number 3. This time of year, like I talked about, there's so much stuff, right? And so much busyness. And I want you to think about this. Do you have a car? Do you have a job? Do you have a family? Do you have a friend? Right? Do you have a mall that you can go shopping at? Do you have heat in your home? These are all things you can be grateful for. Joy happens now. You can make gratitude a habit. Find joy in the small things. Put some change in the change jar of the guy ringing the bell out in front of the store tonight. Find joy in those small things. If you got some money in your pocket, put it in the bin. Put it in the bucket. Give. Make gratitude a habit. Okay, be happy now. Don't let stuff make you happy. Be grateful for what you have, right? Remember, for me again, for the Christians out there, it's like, what's the reason for the season? It's Jesus, right? I mean, remember back why this whole season is happening, right? There was a man named Jesus who lived on the earth and showed the rest of us, here's how you live. All right, that's number 3. Number 4, this time of year, it's so easy to go overboard, right? Food, alcohol, football, like sitting on the couch watching football all day long, right? This stuff makes you sluggish. You waste time when you could have been productive. And listen, if you're listening to this podcast, you're the type of person who wants to be productive. And you can burn a lot of time, waste a lot of energy, and just sap your energy by overeating, over drinking, being sloth-like, being gluttonous, and that stuff all catches up to you. So don't go overboard. So here's number 4 is think moderation. Think moderation on food, on alcohol, on, buying more stuff than you need to, right? Buying more gifts than you need to. Just putting more things on your calendar that need to be on your calendar, right? Think moderation. Right. Number 5, like I talked about, football is, all over the television, this time of year. We get so much great football, bowl games and everything coming up. And definitely take your downtime. Definitely celebrate. Definitely, sit around the table or at an event with friends or with family or with colleagues or with community members. Sit, relax, celebrate. But don't do it too long. Get up and help clean up after a meal. Help somebody out. Get your shopping done that's causing you that low-level anxiety that you feel, that I know I feel right now as I record this. Having not gotten any of my shopping done, literally none of it. I've started a little bit in terms of researching a couple of things, but I got a little list going. But man, I got some stuff to do. So I'm not going to make that little low-level anxiety in the background of my life go away by sitting around, by having another drink. So sit, but don't sit too long. Go work out. You're not going to regret working out, right? You might regret watching another football game or a rerun of Christmas Vacation or The Christmas Story that you've seen umpteen number of times. It's going to be enjoyable. Yeah, maybe you'll watch it once, especially Christmas Vacation. That's a good one. But don't watch it 2 or 3 times, right? You don't need to. Get up and go work out, or get up and go help clean up the kitchen, right? Bang out a couple shopping things online. Be productive. Sit, but don't sit too long. That's number 5. Number 6, like I said, there's so many things that you can put on your calendar. One more holiday party, one more event, one more thing where you're going to go drive around and watch the Christmas lights. I love all that stuff. What I'm trying to say is realize that every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Okay? So there's a balance. You have to figure out where that balance is. And every time you say yes to something, maybe it's another event or holiday party, you're saying no to, I don't know, maybe it's family or working out or getting that shopping done that you feel like you need to get done. But saying yes to anything means saying no to something else. Saying yes to one more drink means saying no to that extra half an hour of productivity, or say, tomorrow morning. Saying yes to helping somebody clean up and prepare for a party or an event. Saying yes to that means saying no to that sort of nagging feeling that you might get because you didn't help out, you didn't participate, you didn't step up, right? Saying yes to one thing means saying no to something else, right? That's number 6. Number 7, don't should on yourself. Don't should on yourself. You should do this family tradition. You should buy a gift for the kid's bus driver. You should do this. You should do that. You should. We get overwhelmed with it, especially this time of year. I should do this. I should do that, right? And you can should yourself to death. I mean, some of these things are great, like the buying gifts for people and being thoughtful. You have to do that at some level, right? Again, you have to figure out where that line is for you. Draw the line and just be aware. Just be aware. Now, helping yourself be aware goes back to the productive pause, goes back to journaling, goes back to meditation, goes back to working with a coach, having that conversation out loud with somebody so you can figure out when you've gone overboard. Or, like I'm doing with a lot of my clients right now, is creating a plan for the holidays. helping them figure out, how do I make it a great holiday season? What are the things that I need to do so that I can look back in January and say, man, I made the most of it? All right, so that's number 7. Don't shoot on yourself. Number 8 of 11. Number 8. Talk about this homeless shelter experience. I'd never done this before. My wife had done it growing up. Every Thanksgiving, they went and served food. How awesome is that, right? That was her paradigm growing up, serving, giving. And she said it was fun. She enjoyed it. That's all she knew. On Thanksgiving, they gave. So I did this with my boys, my 2 sons and I. They're 12 and 14. We did this for the first time together. And of course, there was mumbling and grumbling and groaning. Oh, this is going to be awkward. I don't know what to do. What do we say? And then we came home. On the drive home, I said, boys, what did you think? You know what the first word out of my 12-year-old's mouth was? Fun. That was fun. That was fun. He stood there. Both of them actually stood behind the table and served food. And they had a conversation with several of the guys, interacted with a bunch of them, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I had so much fun. It was so much more rewarding than I even imagined. I sat down with a guy named James, and he told me actually about his faith, sort of how he came to faith, and it was just amazing. This mindset on this guy, it just blew my mind. I mean, this guy is happy and joyful, and he's homeless. And your first thought might be, well, he's probably mentally ill. I don't think so. This guy was amazing. We just had a great, normal conversation. Sat next to a guy named Ronald, another guy. Amazing conversation. He was telling me all about his business that he had. He had a business years ago. He had stump grinders and did some landscaping and trees, and he's an arborist. Spent decades in that career. I don't know what happened. Something, obviously, his life went off the rails somewhere, and we didn't get to that point. But man, we had some really nice conversations with these guys, meaningful conversations. I plan to go back and do this again. I really hope to reconnect with James and Ronald and some of these other guys. And so the concept here is give back. Give back. You have something. You can give. I'm not saying you have to give the coat off your back, but maybe you should consider it. But find a way to give. It feels good. And by the way, if you're alone, this helps you not be alone. This is a great way to connect with other people and have meaningful experiences, meaningful conversations with people. So find a way to give back. And for me as a parent, it's something we always try to do. We always want to do. We've always actually done with our kids is some kind of way to give back, at least over the holidays, other times of the year too. And credit my wife for that. She's the mastermind behind that. But number 9, this is my dad coming out of me. All right. Are you ready for this? So whenever my parents are going to, I think they're going to come down here at some point over the holidays. So this is what's going to happen. He's going to pull out the driveway, and we're going to stand out in the driveway and talk for a while. And he's going to look at the car, and he's going to tell me that since the temperature's dropped lately, have you checked your tire pressure? Because, tire pressure goes down when it gets colder out, right? And how's your washer fluid? This time of year, you're driving, there's snow and stuff, and the roads are often wet, and you get that, you're constantly using your wipers and your washer fluid. Have you topped up your washer fluid? When's the last time you checked your oil? So, and then he'll also say, this time of year, you should really have an extra hat or jacket and gloves and even a flashlight in the car for an emergency. So this is all stuff that my dad's planted into me, right? It's a great idea. It used to be, it was a lecture. Well, it kind of still is. I'm 43 years old, so I'll get that lecture over the holidays. But it's a great one to get, right? So check your oil, check your tire pressure, make sure your washer fluid's topped off, because guess what? You're probably going to be using it a lot if you're anywhere in the, certainly in the Northeast and anywhere in the northern part of the United States, you're going to get snow, and that snow lays on the ground for a while and just turns into slush, and you're using your wipers all the time. Here I am sounding like my dad. All right, you can stop me anytime. If you break down, certainly, I think about, I've got a wife and kids now. I want to have extra clothes in there, an extra, just throw a couple extra hats in there, an extra flashlight in the case of emergency, because it gets dark so early these days, right? You probably won't need it, but my goodness, if you do, it's just, you're so thankful that you do whenever you have that stuff taken care of. So Seriously, I know I sound like my dad, but it's going to save you some headaches. So, all right, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Love you, Dad. All right, number 10. That was number 9. Number 10. I know this one sounds obvious. And I know that I just told you to make sure you find time to work out, make sure you moderate your food and your alcohol. But here's also what I'm telling you. Celebrate. Celebrate. What went well this past year? What did you accomplish? Or what did you just kind of get through? Celebrate. Celebrating gives you something to look forward to next year. It's a reward. You have to allow yourself to blow off some steam. And whatever that means to you, take everything into account that I just talked about in the moderation and make sure you productive pause and all that. Celebrate. Find a time to just be and be happy and to celebrate and to enjoy this season for what it is. All right, that's number 10. Number 11, the last one. I got a couple wrap-up items for you, though. Plan to make 2020 your best year yet. Set aside time for a personal retreat. In episode number 175, I talk about how to do a year in review. If you want to look back on your year and then set your goals and plan for having the most amazing 2020, amazing year yet, set aside time for it. Plan for it. I used to always do it early January. Now I'm bumping that back to December. Just timing wise, when I was working full time and was doing the business on the side, now it's just things have shifted. So I've already set aside time on my calendar. I'm recording this before Thanksgiving, and I've already set time aside in December for me to do this. If you want help with this, set up a call with me. You and I can. This is a big part of it for me, is working with my coach. You can set up a call with me. We can have a free coaching call. JimHarshawJr.com/apply. That's where you go to apply for a free coaching call with me. And this is one of the most important things that you can do. It's refreshing to go back and look at your year, evaluate what went well. What did I actually achieve? I like to go back and look through my journal entries. I like to go back and look at all the goals that I had set back a year ago. There's a bunch of other stuff, different ways to do it. You can grab the action plan for that if you don't want to listen to that whole episode. Again, it's the action plan for episode 175. Just go to JimHarshawJr.com/action. Again, once you put your email in there, it gives you access to all the action plans. Just bookmark the link that I send you, because I'll send you a link immediately, and bookmark that, because every week when the new episodes come out, you get the new action plans every time. So check that out, episode 175, or just sign up for a call. Well, we can talk about that. JimHarshawJr.com/apply. Now listen, conclusion here. I'm wrapping up. It all comes back to the productive pause. Okay, you listen to this episode. I don't know what you're doing right now. You're on the treadmill, you're in your car, you're driving, you're commuting, whatever you're doing. You hit the pause button and you're doing this, right? This is a valuable use of your time. But you've got to do something with it. Ask yourself, what's important now? W-I-N. What's important now? Right? Find time to sit down, to plan your holidays, and do that with your family, do that with your spouse if you're married, do it with any other people in your life who you need to do this with. And then it doesn't have to be long. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 2 minutes, depending on the person or how involved they are in your life. And also ask yourself this: what am I not doing that, if I were, would help me feel less stressed, less anxious, less crappy, right? Thinking about food and alcohol here. What am I not doing that, if I were, would help me feel better about the holidays? I hope you have an awesome holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. Make time for people. People are that's the essence of life, is relationships. Your relationships with people. For myself, it's my relationship with God and with people. I hope you have an amazing holiday season. I hope I get a chance to talk to you sometime over the holiday season, or at the very least early 2020, to help you make this your best year ever. I'm pretty sure this past year was, personally for me, my best year ever in certain ways. certainly in the business and where we're at with my family right now. It's just amazing. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for you, for listening. And, if you got any value out of this, I hope you'll take a minute just to share this with somebody else. And this is episode number 125. I hope you just shoot somebody a letter. I'm sorry, 225. JimHarshawJr.com/225. Send it to a friend. Send them a text. Send it out on Twitter, whatever it is. And if you haven't given me a rating and review yet on iTunes, I'm eternally grateful for those who do. So thank you for considering that. And that's a wrap. As always, take the time to get clear on your goals and embrace failure as a stepping stone on your path to success.